First match, WCW six-man tag team champions, Junkyard Dog, Tommy Rich and Ricky Morton against the Big Cat and the State Patrol.
Oh, Mark. Junkyard Dog is career heaviest here. And we
really
love
is.
Junkyard Dog on WrestleMania. And it kind of puts in mind a lot of like Japanese video games when they come to the West. The Japanese are perverts. So video games like Dead or Alive, the big fighting game would always come with like women in bikinis and they'd be fighting. And their boobs would jiggle. And that seemed to be the main focus of the programmers. They didn't seem interested in making a compelling fighting game. They were obsessed with how much titty jiggle
They
there was.
know their audience.
And my God, his stomach jiggles. It's got its
amazing.
own centre of gravity. He looks like SpongeBob's friend from SpongeBob SquarePants. Patrick Starr, I believe his name is.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's way past it here, and he doesn't do very much in this whole thing. They talk about how powerful he is.
Is this pre when I would have seen him in WWE or
No,
post?
post. So, but you might think, probably what, 10 years after? It's like 3 years after, Pete. 3 years.
It is fantastic, and he shaved his head, so he looks like he's had some kind of problem. I don't know.
I mean, the funny thing about Junkyard Dog is certainly if you were reading things like the Wrestling Observer, they used to call him Junk Food Dog, and I think credit to Dave Meltzer, he's gone times were different. I certainly wouldn't do that now, and it just seems a bit childish. But at the time, he was seen as being absolutely just awful, having had this wonderful career, certainly in the early 80s.
I don't like to hear that.
But the crowd, they still fucking love Junkyard Dog.
Because he's a draw. That's why.
Absolutely.
That's why they love him.
That is half of what wrestling is, really, isn't it? You can be one of the great performers in the ring. Take your Brad Armstrong, who we see in a while. You can be great, but if the crowd don't connect with you, it doesn't really matter.
No.
And you get Junkyard Dog. Now, his skills have deserted him. But actually, it turns out that just being charismatic is enough. They talk about like how powerful he is and stuff. And quite often when they go, really strong, what they mean is he's got quite a fat.
Yes.
And all he does in this match, he does some headbutts and he does some punches and things. But he is as over as anybody, certainly in this match, certainly in the first half of this show.
Well, I mean, you sort of look at it, you sort of go, the State Patrol and Tommy Rich, they're going to be doing all the work in this one. But like him and Big Cat just exchange some really slow punches at the start.
Don't they?
Oh, wow, this is not setting the pace for this pay-per-view.
And now the commentators make a big thing about going, here they are, this is what we want to see. And what they never sort of touch on, I don't think they even know, is it's Big Cat versus Junkyard Dog.
They never go for a dog.
It's cat versus dog.
They're fighting like dog.
Anything.
Why wouldn't you just have them open it?
It's the easiest thing you've ever seen. And instead, what they seem to be hinting at is that ingrained racism within wrestling, which is going, these two will have a natural rivalry because they're both black.
Right, okay,
and obviously there can only be one black person in any wrestling federation in America in the 80s or 90s. So the two of them will naturally want to fight. It's a dog and a cat. It's a big cat and a junkyard dog. If you can't see how that might work into something, there's no fucking hope for you. When he comes in Big Cat, and he's still not really got a gimmick, so he's got this name which I actually quite like. It's a big cat.
Just Big Cat.
I'm Big Cat. But he comes in with a sort of small poncho, and when he comes into the ring on the ramp, he's got the State Patrol either side of him, and it does look like they've arrested him wrongly. Which again, back then,
it's not a great,
it just seemed normal. The two guys who are the State Patrol, one of them is Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker,
right?
A wrestler called Dewayne Bruce. He became sort of most famous because he was the head trainer at the WCW Power Plant, which was their sort of version of the Performance Center. He made quite a big appearance on Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends when Louis Theroux did a documentary about backstage at WCW.
I don't care if you're a dying cockroach. You see that foot? It's gonna squash you. Come on, there you go. 18. There you go. 19. There you go. 20. All right. Come on. Stop. Don't you stop. Don't stop. What did you say to me?
I'm a cockroach.
Why?
Because I haven't got the will to win.
Get your ass up. In the ring.
He's most famous in some ways for probably the training of Goldberg. That was the big success. And certainly towards the end of WCW, he'd had some tag teams with Goldberg where they'd play off this sort of, teacher and hugely successful student. And that Goldberg would, for some reason, hate it when people beat up his trainer.
Right.
Although, if anyone's done wrestling training, their trainers tend to be fucking arseholes.
Yeah, you'd be
joining in.
Level of catharsis to that.
Yeah, in the mid-90s, they stuck him in the Dungeon of Doom under the short-lived gimmick of Braun the Leprechaun.
We're going to find him. It's a man that I understand they've called the Leprechaun.
The what?
Yes, look at this. Look at this guy, would you? And
You gotta be kidding! Look at the teeth on him!
I know.
This guy's a dental nightmare!
The Leprechaun has arrived. I guess he is going to be a part of this. I have no idea.
He was one of these guys who, even at the time, you knew he was rubbish. It's not a case of looking back and go, well, his career didn't click. He's sort of bad. Now, the other guy who's with him, James Earl Wright, the James Earl Wright bit as well sort of hints at there's a lot of assassinators who have got that sort of middle name Earl. But I think that is just a chance. He's one of these, he's balding as well.
Yeah.
And WWF was always very good, with the exception of Hulk Hogan and maybe Nails, of never ever employing balding men.
Right.
And there is something about when you see him in this, you sort of just go, oh, he's getting on a bit. I don't think he was. He's also another guy, he didn't go on to have a training career, but there was no career after this. He exists solely as a member of the State Patrol, and then nothing had happened before, and then nothing happened after.
Right.
He's, it's what we call Troy Montouring it, after the guy from Starrcade 90, who does not exist online. Ricky Morton. He's trying to be young and sort of go, I've still got it. And
Still got my arm drag, guys.
oh, yeah. And I've
Who
got
wants to see
fire.
50 arm drags?
There is something magic in this bit where Tommy Rich does one of those, he does an elbow drop. He fakes an elbow drop. So he throws his elbow up and the guy rolls out and goes, ah, ha, ha. But Tommy Rich didn't drop it and he's waiting. Yeah. And when the guy turns around, he does an arm drag.
Yeah.
That spot has never not got like a basic knee-jerk reaction, bit of cheering. Tommy Rich does it here. He does it very well. Nothing. The crowd just are like, we hate you. We hate you. We don't know. Tommy Rich doesn't understand what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think the crowd understand what it is. Watching this back, I don't understand what it is.
I'm watching Dusty because I was going, the State Patrol were arresting people last night. I'm like, we don't need the law involved in the law of the law.
I happen to know that 2 months ago, Big Cat suffered a family tragedy. An elderly member of the... What are you doing, Dusty? Just tell us about that. Now, I know she's been ill for some time. It was not a surprise.
The thing is, and we talk about our love for Dusty Rhodes, I forgot how much I fucking love his commentary. Like,
You know who JYD looks a little bit like here, Jimbo, in this thing? He look a little bit like Big George Foreman with that haircut.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Woo!
he's just constantly trying to derail, but not in like a kind of like a shitty way. He's just got a beautiful way about him. He's got a beautiful way of speaking.
Yeah.
I just love that he can find rhymes and words and similes that you just don't hear in wrestling.
You don't,
and Jim Ross has to fucking pull it back.
And you don't know anyone else like him in your life who just sits there talking away. I was thinking about, one of the things that obviously he never had to do because he was successful in a bigger part of entertainment was like radio. But if you'd have had like an hour of Dusty Rhodes on the radio, would it have been like Garrison Keillor? And you'd be like, it's this amazing stream of consciousness. Or would you go, it's the most irritating thing I've ever heard? I see those photos, of Nigel Farage. Drinking his drink, lonely man, sad man, tragic man. Or, I just can't work out whether I really like it or whether I start going, this is a bit grating.
I really like it. Maybe I just, I don't know.
Maybe he gets worse. This is the first one back.
Maybe it's just WCW. We're watching some terrible things. At one point during this match, it cuts to a man in the crowd and he's wearing a vest. Now, not a colourful vest, not a vest that you might train in or that has a particular slogan. A white vest, just a vest, an undershirt.
It's like the cheapest top
you
could ever get.
The cheapest article of clothing you could wear on your top half.
Yeah.
And that is saying something. Like, it was just an undervest he was just wearing. I was like, wow, this is Arizona.
Because that thing about Arizona and places like that, in Texas they used to talk about when you do the Sportatorium, they had no air conditioning in these places. And I just think sometimes, they talked about it was over 100 degrees in the audience and things. God, that would be difficult. It's exactly the sort of thing that if I'd have gone to this, I'd have turned up in my Steiner Brothers sweatshirt and I would have died in the middle of the Terence Taylor Z-Man match. It wouldn't have lasted any longer. We're going to be talking about Terry Taylor, I think, next time, because he is the new computerized man of the 1990s.
Why are they're just introducing more computerized men?
Yep. Michael Wall Street, he actually typed in, I believe Alexandra York left the computer on one side,
right,
and he typed in, "Can I go to the WWF?" and the computer worked out the difference in the amount you'd be paid.
Yeah.
And he simply shut it, and they never saw him again. I believe that's what's happened. If you've not seen this pay-per-view, look, do yourself a favour, check it out. It's really, really good.
If you want to see Junkyard Dog do the thumpiest thumpy he will ever do in his life.
True.
Too thumpy.
He's got the word thump written on the back of his trousers as well. I love the word thump.
Yes.
It's absolutely
was
great.
Was it an INXS album?
Thump?
Was Thump
No,
an
it was,
INXS
I think it was Kick.
Kick? Yeah. Oh, right, okay, fair news.
Hey, Yorkshire and XS, we present Thump. There you go.
Your face is right. It's right for the thumping, sunshine.